Hey friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. Today I'm making a side dish, so I want you to go with me when we make some blue cheese and bacon Brussels sprouts. That's right, Brussels sprouts are gaining popularity still, I think, in restaurants. As a kid, we loved them. We didn't care if they were straight out of the frozen food bag, plunged in some scalding hot water and cooked until they were just mush. We loved Brussels sprouts, but not a lot of kids did, because when people came to our house, they'd look at us like, are you insane? You're eating those? But yeah, 60 years, I'm still loving them. So let's go over to the kitchen and we're gonna get our Brussels sprouts ready to steam. We're gonna add some things to it that's gonna kind of pump up the flavor just a little bit. So let's go. So here's our Brussels sprouts. And I think this says on here that they're pre-rinsed. I don't believe it. They might have pre-rinsed them somewhere, but we're just going to be sure they're rinsed. So all we're going to do with these is simply cut the end of it off. Just like that. Now I've got my cutting board down there. I'm not going to do this with all of them, but we're going to cut them like that, and then slice them in half like that. Put them in a container, and then we'll go over and steam them in a pan that's on the stove. So let me get these sliced up and I'll meet you back over there. All right, back over here at the stove top. I'm heating my skillet up because I'm about to fry the bacon in this. And I don't normally fry bacon in a skillet. I normally put mine in a big pan with a grate on there. I'm trying to think of what those pans are called, but I can't right at the moment. But all the grease drains off of it, and then I let the grease cool. I scoop it out, put it in a jar, bacon's done. That's the best way to cook bacon. We have a video on that. We'll link that in the description. But for now, we're gonna cook our few pieces in this skillet right here. In this pan, I'm going to turn that burner on rather high. I'm going to put in about a cup of water. And put in about a teaspoon of salt. That way you don't have the salt directly hitting the Brussels sprouts, but rather they're being steamed by salt water. So they'll still have the flavor, but you won't have like chunks of salt in some bites and then no salt in the others. We'll put our steamer basket inside the pan. Put our Brussels sprouts in there that we've taken the stem part off, and then cut them in half. These are pretty Brussels sprouts too. Sometimes our big store in town has them and sometimes they don't, but I got lucky the other day and they had them. All right, so over here in this pan, we are going to cook our bacon, and my favorite part of bacon is when it's marked down. So I actually stockpile it, and I keep it in the freezer, and then when I'm ready to cook it, I let it thaw just enough to where I can open the package without hurting myself. I think I want to cut that bacon up into smaller pieces. It's going to be chunked up in small pieces anyway. Just use my kitchen shears. I'm cooking 6 slices. That's 1 pound of Brussels sprouts, and I'm cooking 6 slices of bacon. All right, that has started steaming in this pan, the Brussels sprouts have, so we're going to cook those for about 5 minutes. I'm going to set my timer. We're going to cook our bacon until it's crispy. Don't think you can get away with just getting it kind of cooked. It needs to be cooked crispy. Not burnt, but until it's crispy. My dogs are down here. You can't see them for the camera view, but they're down here. I have this, this mat, one of those chef's mats that has the really good foam in it. Because I stand here in front of the stove so much, but they're down here licking up the spatters from this bacon that jumped down there on that mat. So I can't say that I blame them. We're only going to reserve about 1 tablespoon of our bacon grease. So I'm going to pour all of it but 1 tablespoon in this little stainless steel bowl, because if you're from the South, you know you don't throw away bacon grease. Ever. Ever. Just a rule. And we only used about half that onion, so I'll put the other one back in the fridge in a little sandwich bag. Now, if you'll remember what our package looked like a while ago that our bacon came in, it's the, I think it was Hormel brand, all natural, and that's not necessarily important, but the important part is that it's not cured. It is nitrate and nitrite free, so no carcinogens in it. All right, we're going to turn this burner off because that has steamed for 5 minutes. So like I was saying, the important thing is to buy uncured bacon. If you don't think your store carries it, you might look either on the tallest shelf there or the lowest part there over in a corner somewhere. It's not something that they normally have a lot of selection of, but they'll have a lot more selection of the cured, the sugar cured, the yada yada yada, with all the nitrates and nitrites in it. But that's not something that I choose to use. I'm a cancer survivor. I want to make better choices, so that's just FYI. If I were not filming this, my vent hood would be on because I do not like the smell. I like the smell of bacon, but I don't want it lingering for 24 hours or more, and I don't like the fact that the grease floats around in the air and gets in my draperies. I don't have a lot of upholstered things in this particular room, but my draperies, I'm sure, are absorbing some of this grease in the air, and I'm not a fan of that. But again, you got the camera on and you do different things than when you don't have the camera on. Okay, when I say cook your bacon crispy, I mean like when you take it out of the oven, it might, or out of the skillet, it might be soft, but then it starts getting rigid, and I'll be able to break that in half when it cools off. Okay, I'm going to scoot that off the burner for just a minute because I don't want it to just keep getting hot. The bacon's pretty much cooked all the way, but I'm going to pour all that bacon grease out except for just a little bit. Now we're going to cook our onions in this skillet in that little bit of reserved bacon fat. That was about 1/2 of a large onion, so I'd say, I don't know, 1/3 of a cup. That should be good. Now this particular dish, this is going to be, let's see, today is Friday. We won't have this until Sunday at noon, so ideally you make this right before you serve it. It'll be hot, the cheese will be all melted in there and it'll be nice, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it now, let it cool off, put it in my refrigerator, and about an hour, or a few hours I'd say, before we have this on Sunday, I will reheat it and just keep it warm with the lid on so it doesn't lose a lot of its moisture. So this will be a side dish 2 days from now. I am a huge fan of making what I can way ahead of time so I don't have to panic and go, oh no, what am I going to do? Company's going to be here and I won't have that made in time, or I have to do 3 things at once. This will be one of those things. I'll put it in the oven before we leave for church, heat it up, turn the oven on warm, and it'll stay warm until we walk in to have it for lunch. All right, we are going to take our Brussels sprouts and add these to the mix. And they're steamed, so they're semi-soft, but they're not just mushy, which I don't care if they're mushy, but ideally this recipe wants them not mushy. We're going to add about a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. You can use whole grain mustard if you want, but I prefer the smooth. I don't even have any whole grain mustard. I've done 2 recipes lately that called for it, and I was like, you know what, I'm skipping that part. So use what you have. Give it a stir and kind of get it coated up on everything. Oh, that smells fabulous. But again, I'm a fan of mustard, so of course it's going to smell fabulous to me. Here's where it gets good. We're adding heavy cream to it. Between 1/2 and 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream. If this were an infomercial, I'd say, and we're not done yet. That's not all. But that's really not all. We're going to add some blue cheese to this. I could actually serve this from this skillet and it would be great, but I have a little casserole dish with a lid on it, so we'll put it in that. Okay, we're only going to use 1 ounce of this blue cheese. Let me show you what this looks like. Just from our local big store. I went to Good Measure thinking they had blue cheese and they didn't. I was mistaken because I saw feta the other day. Take our blue cheese and crumble it around. As a kid, yet another one of those things, I had no idea what blue cheese tasted like. I'd heard of it. I'm sure somebody said something about blue cheese on I Love Lucy or Green Acres, or we'd have never known what it was. There was anything out there like that. But I remember wondering as a kid, wonder what the blue tastes like. But I love blue cheese. Not a lot of people do. They think it stinks, and yeah, it stinks. I don't know why I love something that stinks so much, but it just has, I think it has a lovely flavor to it. But if it's not your thing, you can always add a Parmesan or feta or a 3 cheese mixture. Just don't use anything that's pre-shredded. All right, we're going to turn our heat off now. We just want that blue cheese to get nice and melted in there. I could honestly sit down and have this for lunch right now. It smells that good. All right, we're going to take our casserole dish and put it in there. I guess you can see it from that camera, so we're good. have a dog underneath my feet and my hands twisted a direction that I'm not used to holding a skillet with, so I'm giving myself an award after this video's over with. All right, now we take our bacon and crumble over the top. That has a lot of bacon on it, folks. Okay, I think we're done. Doesn't that look pretty? Okay, excuse me, Zoe. All right, I want you to see what this looks like. So this is our blue cheese and bacon Brussels sprouts, and I want you to give this a try. This smells so good. If you're not a fan of Brussels sprouts, just try it. Just try it. So good for you, and this is so delicious. So yet another side dish for you. Sometimes we focus so much on the entrees, we forget to do videos on side dishes, but those are important too, because you don't just want to have green beans and mashed potatoes with every meal. So anyway, maybe you give that a try. Okay, thanks for joining us, guys. We look forward to sharing something again with you real soon. And the recipe for this, of course, will be in the description of the video. Thanks for joining us. Bye.